We have a new sponsor supporting the show. It is The Bangman, who is a new startup and have been operating since June this year, delivering a variety of hobby packs in a single box at an affordable price. So far, they've delivered some huge hits. The biggest one they've pulled so far is a Steph Curry Signatures Gold Auto to 10, which came out of the July edition. Some comps have been rounded up to about 15k AUD, which was verified by Card Letter. So if you're not familiar with what the Bangman is and what their product is offering, it's basically an assortment of hobby packets put into a box at an affordable buy-in. You can then open a variety of different hobby packs. Some of the advantages of buying into a product such as this is that you can sample a whole bunch of different products. Another way to think of it is doing your own break at home. The advantage of the Bangman's product is you are purchasing sealed, unsearched hobby packs as opposed to a single card repack product that has a huge range in value. Just to make the clear delineation between the Bangman's product and any traditional repack, when you buy into a Bangman product, you are getting the guarantee of the Panini seal, and then all of the hits then come out of sealed products. So all the numbered cards, if appropriate for the product, rookie patch autographs, signature cards, and of course those super short prints and case hits. Another key point for the Bangman product is that they have an assortment of different hobby packs in a custom box at two different price points, one being a gold edition and the other being a silver edition. Each month, the Bangman changes up the pack so it's not the same constant lineup. For listeners of our podcast, we have an exclusive deal for you. Use promo code youcantcompthis to get a $15 discount off your next purchase. Find the Bangman on Instagram, the.bang.man, and on Facebook, the Bangman. Thank you so much, Amir and Team Bangman.
Welcome everyone to episode 117 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson, and we are live at the Hobby Hangout. Al is recording our video feed as we do the audio for this week's show. Hi, Al. Thank you for helping out. Let's kick it off. This is a bit different live at this fantastic event.
I think we should start with thank yous, and I think we should start with a bit of a recap of the day.
Yes.
So, huge thank you to Andrew, Alex, and the team at the Hobby Hangout for asking us to be here.
I was going to say they thanked us for being here.
Yeah, they did thank us, but I feel honoured to be a part of this and just even to be thought of.
I'm a little bit chuffed. It's nice.
It's fantastic. So
it's lovely.
Thank you guys. And I think the next thing we should probably talk about too is how the event is looking. If I remember correctly, this looks twice as big as last time.
Yeah. Oh, you were. So Al and I were here for the last one.
Yeah.
You weren't. It was about the same, but the lighting, this time they've got the lighting spot on.
Yeah. And I think
it goes from strength to strength.
We've discussed that. That's right. Every time they're improving it, and the atmosphere down there just looks fantastic. And they've got the MC down there, and that was the first thing he said. He's like, "Look at this! Like, how good is this environment? How good is this experience for people?" And I couldn't agree more with what they're saying about that.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing show. I've done a bit of a walk around so far. It's been interesting. I didn't rove the vendors and accost everyone like I normally do, but the question I've been putting to everyone was,
still have time.
The hobby.
Yeah.
Is the hobby, what are you seeing? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it dwindling? Is it growing? And it's a resounding positive vibe coming from the hobby at the moment. And
affordability is the other
key word
that keeps coming up.
Yeah, we've got people saying products affordable, singles are affordable.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new blood, which is
kids can get back into it again.
That's what I like to see. And that is, we don't have a hobby in 25, the 25-year rule.
Yeah.
It doesn't apply, or it doesn't look the same if we don't have kids buying trading cards.
Yeah.
And there are more kids coming into the hobby. There's a lot more fresh excitement. So all the vibes I'm getting are very positive. The hobby's alive and thriving, and I don't know, it'll be an interesting, brave new world when Fanatics take power. There might be a bit of transitional adjustment, but I think we're in a really positive place.
Yeah, I think that's the key point, isn't it? I think all those people online are saying the hobby's dead and blah, blah, blah. When then you come to an event like this and you just do a 360 and you turn around and you see all the people talking and stalls and going through, bargain bins and looking at high-end stuff and sealed and packets. It's fantastic. So why don't we kick off with our $20 challenge? I think this is going to be very short and sweet.
If I'm the only entrant.
Yeah, I mean,
you are technically... Joe Fu showed me his entry.
Okay.
So, technically putting...
We have two entries. Al, do you have an entry? We don't. I actually...
The show only opened like half an hour ago.
Mine was $30, guys.
Yeah.
So, I went down to our friend down at Matt's card shop.
Fantastic.
So shout out to Matt.
Absolutely.
Who's got his new cases on sale today.
I need to go down and look at those, actually.
Yep. So pretty awesome stuff there.
Yeah.
He gave us a bit of a shout out on his YouTube channel going live. Really, really positive today. It was good. I went through.
What'd you get?
I picked myself up a Josh Green Select Silver Prism.
Great.
Rookie.
Yeah.
A variant, purple, blue, and silver, is it?
The cracked ice one.
Cracked ice, yeah. The Josh Green rookie.
Yeah.
So, bit of a Josh Green snag there.
Yeah.
I also got a Josh Okogie Hyper rookie.
Yeah.
Just randomly out of $5 box.
Yeah, great.
And a base. I know I don't normally do base, but I couldn't help myself. Because it's the Ant-Man himself, Anthony Edwards base.
Edwards has been killing it this year, so
this is his year. So I think $5 for that. So $5 each for these cards.
Yeah, great.
So the $20 limit. I was going to get one card because I saw Joe Fu's. He got a Shaq rookie for $20, PSA 8.
Okay.
So not a bad deal.
So, considering we've only got two entrances, why don't we leave this open for a little bit more, and maybe we can do it as an online competition?
I like that.
I think you're right. I think the time frame was very short, and I think it's also been hard for people to get in the venue. Like the queue again.
When we were doing the walk up here,
yeah,
and showing the listeners where we were going to be and showing the little room. When I came out to get you, the line was already like 200 meters long.
Huge.
Yeah. So
huge.
All right, there's lots to see.
Should we?
Can you find Matt's card shop on YouTube?
Oh, that's a good point. Yes, Matt's Card Shop on YouTube. I think if you just type in Matt's Card Shop, you can get in there. We'll put a link. We'll put a link up and we'll advertise in the group for sure. For sure.
All right, should we go through the run sheet?
Shall we? Yes. I've just opened it. So
great. So I think keeping with the vein of thought of the hobby is dead. Here is another excellent example of how the hobby is not dead. So this is an announcement from Topps. It's a baseball announcement, but I think there is some NBA apparel, or you can look at mine.
Yeah, that's cool.
There is some NBA crossover to this because Fanatics does own Topps.
Yes.
And we do know that in the next few years, Fanatics will be taking over the NBA license. So there is some potential crossover here.
Mm-hmm.
So out of MLB debut, the one-of-one cards will be held by Topps, so it'll be a 100% redemption.
Mm-hmm.
And their argument for this is so that it's a white glove service, so that the cards are kept pristine. You know, they're not being moved around. Around the world sometimes with how sealed products just get shipped around.
Yep.
And then also too, they're offering a free grading service between BGS, PSA, SGC. No, sorry, I lied to you. Not PSA, BGS, SGC, or CGC. Or you can have it sent out raw. So
this is very different.
Encased. It's like encased.
It's literally the next version of encased. Okay.
It's literally a better version of encased, right? Except
I like that.
Card isn't going to get damaged in transport either. Because
True.
it's sitting with Topps until it can be graded.
Yeah.
And you get to choose the grader.
I do like this move. I do like the choice of grader. I like everything about this compared to the old redemption system.
Yeah.
And the fact that there is no time limit.
Yeah.
They're actually like, this is a redemption card. It's not like we're giving a limited number of them, and if you don't fill them in by date X, we don't have to fulfill it. It will always be valid.
Right. And so just touching on your point, these exchanges never expire.
Yeah.
And I think that is a major detractor for Panini with current sealed product. Like that really does put me off buying sealed product as an investment to hold on to, because the easy one to remember
Don't
is,
you like the Panini points that you get in exchange for your outstanding redemptions?
but not the points, but like if the actual redemption itself expires, the easy one to remember is Donovan Mitchell. Like there's actually quite a bit of Donovan Mitchell that does expire, and it's like, well, I've got no interest in holding 17, 18. In fact, I've got real no interest in even buying it and ripping it, because they're already expired.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
Where it's basically a better version of encased. But not only that, the fact that they bulk cards, so the cards never go out in product, which means the card should typically always be a 10. Not that the number matters.
Well, it's not even that they go out. It doesn't.
That's such me.
We're only giving out a redemption if there's a physical card to match it.
It wasn't their physical card determining if that's a card they want in their role, whether they need to reprint that card to a better standard.
Yeah, that sounds like they give it. It just sounds like they give it. That's it in a nutshell.
Card letter sale 2018 Prism Shea Gilgeous Alexander Green Pulsar number to 25 PSA 10 Pop 6 notched a record high when it sold for $2,760 via PWCC auctions. The card sold for $2,050 in May this year, and that's up 34%. So in total, it's up $710.
$710 in 6 months.
So I think that says a lot about
surely the hobby's dead. Clearly.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But I think, me personally, I think that's more about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like they are absolutely scorching hot right now. They're beating all the teams that they should beat.
Sure.
They're losing to some of the better teams, but at the same time, they're still giving them like a real run for their money.
Yeah.
And I think, whether this is true or not, I think a little bit of the attention that's been going to Chet is also then rubbing off onto people like Shea Gilgeous Alexander too. And also vice versa. And that's how I feel about this card.
Nice.
The really interesting thing for me about SGA is that essentially he was a throwaway in the Paul George trade. So, and I think if you compare those two guys hobby-wise, how much extra heat SGA is getting in comparison to what Paul George is getting.
Paul George never really, though. Like, he was one of those... He wasn't really a hobby player.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't exciting enough in the spotlight, I guess.
Yeah.
That might have something to do with Indiana, but yeah. No shade on Paul.
I think for me, the next question is when you start to break it down onto cards that are actually, affordable or achievable. So, for example, his silver PSA 10.
Yeah. So this is SGA?
SGA, his last sold price was for $473.
Okay.
Population on that is 580. Is this a buy, a hold, or a sell for you?
It's a hold.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd get in at that price, but I'm not selling out saying it's going to be I'm not sure. I don't think I'd be trying to clean house on that.
Yeah, look, I think the thing for me is that there's a lot of other prospects that are selling at around that sort of $300 to $400 mark, and albeit he's getting up to the $500 mark.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, am I putting him in the $500 bucket yet? Probably not, but he's on my radar.
The thing about this, though, is that this team is definitely on the rise, and also they are hot and only going to get hotter. That's the way I feel about this team. I don't feel like this is the top for this by any means at all.
Player comp, who is he? Who are we comping him to? Who, like, as far as in that bucket?
So I think
where's he ceiling? Is he a Tatum or is he a?
So if you're looking at prospects in that, I think Tatum you definitely have to compare him to.
Yeah,
and Tatum is significantly higher at this point.
Yeah,
the other one that's probably in the same ballpark as De'Aaron Fox, but at the moment Fox is actually.
All right, I'll look up Fox.
I would actually say off the top of my head, maybe even 50% less than what SGA is currently selling for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Silver PSA 10 last sold $309.95.
Yeah.
So $310 US. Pop count on that is 562. So very comparable.
Very comparable.
Very much to SGA.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, this is probably too close to home for you, but
yeah.
I don't know. I'll throw out to Al behind the camera. Would you rather spend $300 on De'Aaron Fox or 475 on SGA.
That's really tough. Like Darren Fox, I feel like we've hit a ceiling with Darren Fox because the cards don't move in it.
Okay.
SGA, on the other hand, cards move quite frequently. So it's a weird thing, right? Because
So they're in a different.
like SGA reach some ability than Darren Fox's. Darren Fox is a little bit more exciting to me for some reason. SGA, but SGA has a better proven track and record when it comes to buy sell. So probably SGA with Darren Fox.
Interesting. It's interesting because I agreed with Russell's comp at the beginning, and I still do actually. I still think there's probably value in Fox, and I think SGA is kind of where his value is. I don't think it's going to go up much further unless OKC go on a run this year. Like I think something has to happen, but I could be very wrong. It's an opinion based thing. I don't know. De'Aaron Fox to me is an exciting player. He's like, didn't he win the Clutch Award or whatever? Like he's the best fourth quarter performer in the league.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think 310 for Fox is kind of one of those buy territory for me. Whereas SGA, he might be a buy because he could be a Tatum at the 700-800 mark, but he also might be a Fox, which means he's a sell.
Look, obviously I'm very biased here.
Yeah,
So
yeah, of course.
if we're going to talk about Fox specifically, what you do need to like remember a little bit was that if you look at the last 12 months of sales data for Fox, he was down to $100. So that was the time when to buy, right? So in many ways, Fox has moved up so much.
That is a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
That is definitely.
So that's what sort of, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, like actually, is it a time to sell Fox at the moment? That to me is almost like the question. Like if you load it up at that sort of $100 to $150 mark, then now's the time. But I think we're talking about SGA specifically because that's like what where we did start.
Yeah.
I just really get this feeling that there's some things in the hobby where they just are what they are. Even if you think Darren Fox is a better buy, which I personally do think that, actually in some ways SGA might be the better buy because he is the more hobby relevant. He's the more hobby popular. And I think what's going to happen to this Thunder team in the next 2 years, they're going to be very exciting. They're very young and they're going to be competitive. And I think all of those three things in combination together actually makes me say quite potentially SGA is a strong buy at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's reflected in the card letter sale that we opened up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So the next thing we've got in the run sheet is called our 5-player NBA lineup, where Adam and I have both chosen 5 players that we want to talk about. For me, I've just picked players that have been on my mind this year and I wanted to unpack a little bit. But why don't we start with your starting 5?
My starting 5's a little bit different. If I was going to expand my PC, which it kind of already sits in there, these are the 5 players I would like to collect, and I already do sort of collect.
Yeah, sure.
I've added one to the list, and I thought I'd make it a bit of fun and actually put somebody at each position. So, at my point guard is someone I don't currently PC, but I would like to get a little bit of. I think there's no secrets about this.
Yeah.
Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
Is the definition of a generational talent.
Yeah.
This man redefined the game of basketball in the modern era. He has been the most influential player of the last 15 years.
Yep.
And it's as much as the joke is, it's like Jordan was the best player in Jordan's era. Kobe was the best player in Kobe's era.
Yeah.
And Steph Curry was the best in LeBron's era.
Yeah.
The man can shoot the ball from anywhere on the court. It's amazing. And I think having even a small collection of Curry would be a lovely side PC for myself.
Can I interrupt you for 2 seconds?
Sure.
Have you noticed that Luka's 3-point range is almost extended to Curry range this year?
Really?
It's crazy.
Don't make me watch Luka.
Fine. That was
I'm
it.
going to go and watch Luka.
No, I'm going to segue into a later segment that I was going to do in the show, but this is going to fit in really well. So last week in the show, we spoke about your Curry theory.
Yes.
So why don't you thread that in right now?
All right, so we'll go with the Curry theory.
Yeah, tell us about your Curry theory.
I have been in and out of the hobby for quite some time, but most people know this story, that I've seen a lot of the kids through my junior basketball coaching, through doing like pop-up stands at basketball stadiums, selling cards or cheaper cards on to the grassroots of society.
Yep.
Getting the kids in, because that was where my hobby love began,
Yep.
is as a junior, getting my Upper Deck cards and, collecting my favorite players, my Scottie Pippens, getting my Jordan base cards that I would sell at school and all that.
Yeah.
My experience with Steph Curry is my exposure to junior basketball. Through the LeBron era, we'll add, every second child had the number 30 on their back.
Yeah.
Every kid had a Steph Curry jersey on. Every kid that could barely shoot a free throw was jacking up threes because they want to be Steph Curry. Now, the only other two that I've seen at this level are kids trying to replicate fadebacks from MJ and even adults to this day that every time they throw a piece of paper in a bin, shout Kobe.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It is, as soon as they get the ball in their hands, they just want to jack it from 5 meters behind the 3-point line. They want to get a half court shot. They want to be that shooter.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's game defining. Like, the love of the game comes from this player.
Yeah.
And his love of the game. So I think Curry has a bigger influence on the sport and in turn on the hobby.
I actually don't know. I agree with what you're saying 100%, but I also don't know how this happens because my daughter is now 5 and she really likes basketball.
Yes.
So whether that's genetic or I've somehow prayed that she would love basketball.
It's part of the environment.
It's happened.
Yep.
Yeah, it's happened. Anyway, so now we go to the local courts to play basketball. And she likes Luca. So Luca is her...
Luca might be the new one.
The person that she connects to is Luca. But this is the part I want to talk to you about. So there was 2 other kids at the court yesterday, and they were talking about what shoes they're going to buy. So the names that came up were Steph Curry, LaMelo Ball, Kevin Durant, and Zion Williamson.
Wow.
Now, the really funny part about this is, obviously, like, the names that we was talking about, because that fits into your theory. But one of them said, don't buy Zions, you'll get an injury.
The same can be said for the Mellows, I guess.
It's funny you say that. Because when I was looking at shoes, the reason I bought these on the LX green audience is because I was looking up different shoe reviews. There's heaps of shoe reviews on YouTube. And the guy was specifically talking about the Zions. And it's like the Michael Jordan Zions, don't buy them because you will break your record.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And that was just like...
Maybe there's an element of truth to it, rather than being tongue-in-cheek.
Maybe he needs new shoes. Save his career.
That's true. It's true. It's very true. God, maybe you're right. Maybe Luca is the new Curry.
I think so.
Strange.
Who's on your list next?
Who's on my list? At shooting guard, who else would it be?
Jordan.
You're very funny.
Kobe.
Kobe is my shooting guard. He is my PC.
Yeah.
I love Kobe. We all know this. If anyone hasn't heard how much I love Kobe, we just go back to the 100th episode.
Yeah.
Where
the whole episode on Kobe.
Yeah, where I talked about my love of Kobe and Julius Randle was the other player. So at the small forward, I put Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, cool.
So between the 3 and the 4, I've got Pippen and Randle, who are my side PCs.
Yeah, cool.
And that's where I went with it. It's what cards that I collect, cards that I want to collect.
So for me, Pippen's a really hard one because there's not a heap of Pippen autos out there.
No.
And then the ones that do go on sale, I feel like because of the scarcity, they really go higher than what you would expect.
The thing with Pippen, and the thing I enjoy about having a side collection of Pippens, is you pick them up when you can. Like, I don't obsess over it. I don't get tagged in 100 different posts about when the autos come up. I see an auto come up, I go, should I, shouldn't I? And 90% of the time, it's a don't do it. Like, you're right. The prices are unreasonable, or it's inflated.
Well, actually, are they unreasonable, or are we just undervaluing Pippen as a NBA all-timer?
I think Pippen is criminally underrated as an all-timer, but
So maybe the narrative should be changed around a bit.
yeah, I think hobby-wise it's difficult because of the era, because he was a 90s
Yeah.
star, and there wasn't a lot of that auto availability through that time. So I like picking up a lot of the older stuff, like getting like the upper deck die cut. They had, what else was it? Is it is this Scoring Kings Pippen? I've got it, but anyway, but it's the 90s feel, the inserts, and there's some cool stuff there, and it's not overly expensive. Yes, I've picked up the sneaker swatch. I got that at EJ's at one of the trade days. That was lovely.
Yeah, sweet.
But it's like it's a different type of PC for me. It's the nostalgia PC. It's the junk wax bits and bobs, and you go, you know what? That's a nice looking card, and that's a different kind of collection. Versus, I don't know, say the Julius Randle. So I'll move to the power forward and go Julius.
Well, before that, though, there is some amazing, exquisite stuff out there for Scottie Pippen, though. It's not all junk wax.
There's more modern, there are modern things that we can explore.
Yeah.
But the way I see my side PCs is I get something different out of them.
Yeah.
So Pippen's just a player. That's the jersey I wore as a kid.
33?
Yeah. So I liked Alonzo Mourning and Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, right.
Everybody had it. I was the only kid that didn't own a Jordan jersey.
Yeah.
In my group. So we all basically played a heap of basketball, and I didn't have Jordan.
Yeah.
I preferred Pippen on my back.
Yeah.
So it was
I love Pippen for his all-round game and how he just did everything for that team. That was what I loved about Pippen.
Agreed, totally agreed.
Yeah.
So at the 4, obviously Julius Randle, who's I just loved his aggression around the boards, and it was unfortunate in his rookie year that he hurt himself, and I think his time at the Lakers was amazing. He was an energy guy, and I do miss him in purple and gold, but at all of my, obviously the rookie stuff is Julius in the number 30 for the purple and gold.
Yeah.
Occasionally I'll pick up a Knicks card, but it's a lot of the early rookie stuff for me with Julius. And in number 5, it's another nostalgia pick. It's Shaq.
Yeah, interesting.
I like Shaq. Big Diesel. Not to the extent that our friend of the show, Joe Food, Shaq Food 32.
I don't think there's another person on earth that represents Shaq the way that he does. Let's be honest. Yeah.
But I do know that he's the man I will go to anytime I'm after a nice Shaq.
Yeah.
Definitely want to get an opinion. So that was my all-time 5. Yep. I was contemplating putting a 6-man in.
You can if you want. Or are you happy?
No, I'm happy for now.
Okay.
There's too many.
Thank you to our sponsor, EJ Cards, a small but motivated company specializing in cards. EJ Cards believe passionately in great bargains and excellent service, which is why they commit themselves to give you the best of both. If you're looking for something new, you're in the right place. EJ Cards strive to be industrious and innovative, offering customers something they want, putting their desires at the top of the priority list. Find EJ Cards at www.ejcards.com.au. I did my starting 5 around people that have been capturing my attention this year. So
I like it.
I think we have to start with Tyrese Maxey. There's just no other way to start this. If you go to Card Ladder, you look at
the hype train is real.
It is crazy. So if you look at the last 6 months of data, he was literally in a straight line at $200. And then as the season began, he's gone up absolutely exponentially. So went from 200 to 240, up to 335, down a little bit to 316, then all the way up to 410. And the last 3 sales have been sitting in that sort of $380 to $410 mark. So I think we spoke about this last week. I won't talk about this a lot. Is this going to keep on going up? I think the answer is yes. I think
after his 50 piece and just seeing the way that Philadelphia is constructed,
the
opportunity for him to perform at that level consistently is there.
Yeah, look, I think the thing with Philadelphia is you have to say they're going to add another piece.
I thought the thing you needed to say was you need to trust the process. Don't say that ever about Philadelphia.
I think the trusting the process is long gone. Daryl Morey is not trusting the process. He doesn't think like that at all.
James Harden doesn't trust anything that Daryl Morey said.
I think the part where my thought has actually changed around Maxey is that there's not going to be a piece brought in to replace him. There's going to be a piece brought in to complement him and Embiid. And I think that's where, if you're buying this guy and you're paying overs of 400, that's okay. So I think that's
okay.
That's the part in my mind that I've sort of maybe settled down with in the last sort of week. All right, Chet Holmgren. We've already spoken about Chet already in today's podcast. The guy
hype train with Chet is real.
The guy is hot. There's nothing else really in the hobby for me that's like as hot as this guy. Hard ladder wise, there's nothing at all on Chet at all. So these are all 130 point marketplace sales. So red ice PSA 10 Prism sold for 133. The silver cracked ice, which I've spoken about many times before on the show, that sold for 180.
Yep.
The Pulsar sold for 202. Now this is really interesting. The Select, not Prism anymore. The orange Flash sold for $70 on a PSA 10. I think we've had this conversation a lot about where does Select sit, where does Prism sit. That is a perfect example of where Select is currently sitting. At about 50% of what you'd be getting Prism for. I found a couple of more, higher end items. A Noir number to 99 RPA that sold for $559 USD.
Yeah.
Like, we're not talking about small amounts of cash.
Got pocket change. No one's picking this up in the $20 special.
The NT RPA 99 sold for $6,500 USD. So, the hype on this kid is real. I think what you have to really.
So I have a question there. I have a concern.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. Before you even say it,
he looks more brittle.
Okay, I was not
than a set of plastic cutlery. There's nothing of him.
I'm not fussed about that. I think with modern medicine, I also think too. There's now an acceptance about body types. So this is easy, right?
Yeah.
Kevin Durant has a different body type to LeBron James, who has a different body type to De'Aaron Fox, who has a different body type to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Agreed.
And I think the acceptance in the NBA community is there, and the medicine is then tailored to those people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
the
one that you might be worried about is Zion, if we're being honest here.
That's funny, because Zion's built like a brick outhouse. And
look, Zion's on my run sheet later, so let's hold the Zion.
I'm like, I do think Chet's. I'm worried about Chet being injured.
Yeah,
I think he's one injury away from literally being snapped in half and ending his career.
I gotta be honest.
I have the same concern with Wemby.
It doesn't fuss me one bit, to be honest. Yeah, no, I really think that. I think he'll grow into his body a little bit, but it's not, It's not the 1980s when they had to put on 50 kilograms of muscle to survive. Like, it's not the way the game's played anymore.
True.
It's a
nice way of telling me I'm really old.
We are old. So actually, my concern now with Chet is overhype. So you really need to start to ask the question: has this guy actually gone too high?
Are we paying 5 year from now prices?
Yeah, and actually, are you overpaying
in advance?
So,
yeah.
Yes, Chet is in my starting 5, but I would also say to tread carefully with this guy. My next on the list is the exact opposite. It's a strong buy and just keep buying. Paulo Banchero. His raw silvers sold last for $37, $41, $43, $33. Now, this is like the interesting part for me. PSA 10s are selling for $285, $290, $270.
The buckets.
We talk about plays in the hobby. This is an easy play.
Well, there you go. Are you buying Paolo at $300? Or are you buying SGA at $400?
I think you're buying raws.
Paolo.
No, you're buying them raw and you're sending them off to PSA.
Okay. Yep. What are the PSA 9s going for, though?
Not that much more than raw.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is definitely the risk.
That's your risk. Okay.
So now, just for some comparison back to Chet, I found some higher ended stuff. It's different, so it's a little bit hard to direct comp. But a Noir number to 10, the horizontal, not the vertical, sold for $611. The Noir, again, horizontal to 99, sold for $360.
Mhm.
An Origin sticker, RPA. It's a white patch with a small sort of line through it. That's sold for $166 USD.
Okay.
So I don't mind that at all. All right. My next couple on the list are more bargain basements and prospects, but I have to start with Jalen Johnson. There's always one or two guys a year that establish themselves and then put themselves into the running for
This is the Jalen era, isn't it?
hobby relevance. And Jalen Johnson has absolutely done that. He wasn't in their starting five at the start of the season, but already the Hawks have made an adjustment. I think we've already spoke about the Hawks this year in terms of I couldn't quite work it in my mind where the Atlanta Hawks are standing. I think the trade of John Collins to me didn't make sense at all. Like they literally just unloaded him for a couple of seconds, which to me was a fire sale for no reason. But maybe what they were hoping for was Jalen Johnson would come into his own. So if you look at his minutes log, 36, 31, 36, 22, 31, 34, 36. So the guy's he's very well established in the rotation.
Yeah.
This is albeit one game, but this is his last game. 7 to 12 from the field, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks, 1 steal, just 2 turnovers, 18 points. I'm really, really high on this kid.
Some solid numbers.
Yeah, I think this is a very strong buy. His raw silvers are selling for 11.5, 5.5, 3 1/4, 9.5. Now, looking into more short printed stuff, a checkerboard optic, which is a SSP, a true SSP.
Yeah.
PSA 10 sold for 35 USD.
Okay.
A mosaic auto sold for 10.5 USD. A 1-and-1 number to 25 RPA sold for 150. So
yes,
I really like this guy. And I'm going to finish off my starting five with Cam Reddish.
Yeah, boy.
Is playing for the Los Angeles Lakers at the moment. In my opinion, he needs to play more. He is playing absolutely out of his mind. He's playing good physical basketball. He's defending. He's rotating. He's rebounding. He's passing. Look, his shooting is not fantastic, and I think you do need to be able to shoot if you're going to play alongside LeBron James. But I think that's okay considering everything else that he's giving them. His PSA 10 silver is currently trading at $40 USD. I think this is just an amazing purchase at the moment, and the Los Angeles Lakers factor is real. You would hope they're going to have a long run into the playoffs. So
I'm hoping they do.
Yeah, I think there's still time. All right. The next thing on the run sheet is Zion Williamson versus Trae Young. So I sort of cut you off before a little bit with your Zion Williamson take. So why don't you put that into the chat here?
Look, Zion, we're very much. I think Zion's the ultimate overhyped guy.
Yeah.
And I think as long as I think we need to reset our expectations of Zion. I think we need to be looking at what he is now, not what he was slated to be.
Yeah.
I think we also need to be grateful if he's taking the court. His injuries have really made his career shaky.
Yeah, sure.
And as far as an investment goes, I think we've talked about this on previous episodes where we can talk about how much money people have lost investing early, but there's no point. We know about that. And the Cards will probably never get back to those illustrious heights, even if he does, in a couple of years, win an MVP. Do you know what I mean? Like, if he's that good.
Yeah.
The question is, how good is he at the moment? Is he fairly valued? And I think we need to... I don't know. I think we need to find a new price bucket for him.
Yeah.
Because saying he used to be in the top bucket of overhype, that doesn't exist anymore. So where does he fit?
Yeah.
Is my question. Yeah.
Look, it's a really almost ironic situation now, is that actually the last couple of years, even though he's been falling, I've still been like, I'm still okay with that.
Buying in at those points is,
I still think overall this is all going to work out. But there was something that's happened to me in the last month or so where actually I'm like, I don't think this is going to be okay. I'm actually now worried. And this is the part where I think it's ironic, is because actually now he's healthy and he's playing really good ball. So if you look at the box score from the 18th, which is just yesterday, 33 minutes, 10 of 17 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks, 26 points, 4 turnovers. Like, if that happened 2 years ago, can you imagine what would have been happening.
Everyone would be going, everyone would have been losing it. Yeah.
Look, it's really, really
What's his average? What's his average this year? He's averaging like what, 22 and 8?
It looks to me like he's in that
22 and 6.
21.8,
22, 6 and 5.
boards, 4 assists in a game. You know, he's actually playing really good basketball.
Yeah.
So where this topic generated from was, again, from Card Ladder. They do these really good comparisons. So a gold vinyl one-on-one graded BGS sold for $26,000, and then Trae Young, who we've been talking about also this year, you highlighted him as a must buy. This exact same card sold for $39,000, which to me is like, again, this goes into the ironic bucket. Trae Young isn't playing that well this year. The Hawks are
I'm shocked. I'm actually shocked that Trae early has been poor.
The Pelicans actually playing pretty well. Zion's playing pretty well, but
it's not reflected in the prices. Is this by confidence, though?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think Trae's had glimpses of showing he's capable. Like the preseason stuff, I was scared that we were about to see Curry 2.0.
Yeah.
And what we've seen is Trae not doing that. He's doing the opposite more than anything. Hobby-wise, I don't know how long that'll take to translate. But Zion, I think that the market's just been burnt.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's actually, I think the lack of confidence comes from, we've seen him be healthy for 20 games.
Yeah.
And then we've seen him out for the rest of the season. And no one's making a move on it. If Zion stays healthy and we get past the All-Star break, does the market turn?
So he's currently trading at $460, which is about the same price as an SGA. So
hang on, what's Trae trading at then? Because let's
Trae's doing like $100.
So I was going to say, can we make this player versus player a three-way? Do we put in? Is SGA versus Zion?
Don't also forget the Pelicans, despite all of the injuries and the baby drama,
which was awesome.
They're holding on to him with dear life. Leaving some of the Pelicans, seeing something in him.
Yeah,
that we're seeing glimpses of. I think it's one of those.
It means something, yeah.
I think the cards aren't sliding enough at the moment, despite all those problems.
This is true.
This is the secret booth.
This is the secret booth.
Joe Booth. Joe Booth. Joe Fu was in the house.
Hello.
Look, would you be? What are you thinking of Zion? He's actually putting up numbers now.
He just has to stay healthy and not get in the public view of his dating.
This is true. If he stays healthy past All-Star weekend, do prices start to go in the right direction?
It should go in the right direction, but the thing is, he was already pumped up already anyway.
But at the moment, he's on a down. He's at 400 US for his base. He's PSA 10. I don't think the market is confident in him.
No,
because we've seen him do 20 games and fall over.
We've burned twice already.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Twice. So, I think I trust it.
How many games does he need to play healthy before we have a bit of faith?
To the playoffs. He has to get him to the playoffs and get some stats in the playoffs.
I like it. I'm on board.
I actually think people's memory is longer than that. I think he needs 12 months of good behavior, and then I think the confidence will come back. Because even
I feel like it's got to be a full season of
even me is
with results.
The eternal Zion optimist. I've lost faith, and I'm not even invested in the guy. Do you know what I mean? And so something has to happen over a long period of time. Because I think that's the thing with this guy.
See, I feel that because that's my opinion on Luka.
And that's the thing with Zion. He's also his team's not in terms of win-loss. They're not doing that great either. So they came straight out of the gate, won 8-0, 10-0, undefeated.
If the Pelicans look like Philly does,
and he's getting the same hype as Wemby is right now. Because every time Wemby does something, shit's gold. Everyone's freaking loving it. So
highlight reels.
Wemby's pretty exciting though.
He's
to be fair,
but everyone's moved on now to the new toy, which is Wemby.
Wemby and Chet.
Right. So you literally have stolen the next thing I wanted to talk about, right? So this is my other.
That's what I'm here for.
This is my other theory about Zion, right? So if we take him as someone that people are prospecting on and investing on, and the new toys come along, as you just said, or the new next big thing.
Yes.
So are you then selling off all of your Zions and then buying Wemba and Giannis? And I think that is a real thing that's going to happen too.
Don't forget that Mount Zion is like 10K card.
Yes.
And now you can buy them in like $500.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing that hurts, and I will say this with Zion, is it was was it the grading? I don't know, tidal wave.
Yeah.
There are like 3,000 PSA 10 silver rookies.
Yeah.
Like these aren't pop counts of 400 or 500. This is 50,000 base cards graded, 2,000 plus silvers graded.
Yeah. Him and Jar.
Yeah.
Him and Jar. They're basically the junk PSA era. Like
Same with Luka, same with Tatum. It's because of that. It's the COVID crazy again, right? It's the product that was released just before COVID that everybody bought up and everybody was bored saying they got it graded.
Yeah.
So,
Flat rate grading, let's go.
yeah. So I think that's where I'm sitting right now. Like for me, this is a stay away,
Yeah.
and this is definitely a change in thinking for me because
Are you holding or are you selling?
I'm just staying away.
I'm like hold till the end of the season.
Yeah.
If you've got,
If I don't have it, I'm not buying it. But if I've got it,
Yeah.
I reckon it's worth holding until at least the middle of the year.
I think the market is going to slide more before it goes back up.
Yeah, but so
If the Pelicans make the playoffs on Zion's back, surely that sees a spike.
But the question is do you sell them off to buy Wemby's? And that's what people are going to be doing. And the question is that the right play?
No.
Even,
The hype around Wemby right now.
I know it's a cash flow thing, I guess.
Yeah. Like, I think the hype around Wemby, although mostly justified, the card prices are still too high because he's too
Yeah.
high. Like, the card prices should be high for Wemby.
Wemby is the real deal, I guess, from what people are saying.
With breaking us, like that's a $160 card. It's a $160 card. There's something special about it. It's not even numbered. Why is it $160?
Yeah.
Because the market's way too high on Wemby right now.
Well, because it's a supply-demand economy.
And
Yeah.
Wemby's just
And Wemby is in demand, and nobody wants Zion.
you know hype the NBA being pushed through the draft. Yeah.
I don't know. Zion, I think you're right, Joe. It's like, but I do, like, I think Zion might go up if the Pelicans do well.
yeah. We already see where you can be at as a pod like status. We're trying to hit Godwin. But because of all the screw up, all the injuries.
That's what I mean. Reset the expectation. Let's be happy where he is now. But if the Pelicans,
We've seen that
With
God can
success,
bleed now.
yeah.
We've seen that God can bleed. He's a human being. But let's see if he can prove that he can actually be more than a human being.
let's go back up, above human status.
Yeah. But yeah, like
That's it.
chips yet. His team.
Oh, I can say this. He's had just as much success as Luka Doncic. Yes. He's still neck and neck with Luka on those MVP awards.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. But Luke is having a better season this year.
He is.
Dallas have found some better players, some good role players. It's
That fit around.
Can I make the call now?
Kyrie.
Something's going to happen in the media that upsets Kyrie Irving. It has nothing to do with basketball. And Kyrie will get upset, and then home wrecker Kyrie will start playing basketball. We know it's happening.
we're going to do an over-under segment as well.
This is like it's inevitable.
Look, I'm taking the odds that Dallas is going to succeed. I think
playoff. I think they'll win playoff.
Luke
We thought that last year. And
Yeah.
then Kyrie ruined it.
But they picked up that rookie. That rookie has been a good.
True.
He's like a.
Yeah.
I think they got.
I do. I'm putting all my cards on Kyrie to screw then take him up.
I'm putting myself in a position. He's surprised. Like Porzingis has surprised me this
I'd
season.
like to be proven wrong.
I thought that was a horrible pickup.
Really? That was a steal. I think trading Robert Williams to get Porzingis, that's a steal. And then trading Marcus Smart essentially for Drew Holiday, that's like, that team is loaded.
I think that was surprise to because injured. He got injured.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, both those two are quite injury prone, right? So then you sort of say, okay, but that sort of equals out. So who's the better talent? Like, Porzingis is talented. Yeah.
But he's Time Lord, though.
It's so I don't know.
So we've got about 10 minutes left. And what I was going to do is like buy, hold, sell. And we've actually got some listener contributions on this.
Sure, yeah.
So I thought maybe we could go around the room and do it. And I've got one specifically for Al, so that would be fantastic. Why don't we start off with Joe? Chris Paul, buy, hold, or sell?
Yeah, it's like he's always proving his ready to go status. You know, there's not really any point telling that. He's almost at the retirement side.
Yeah.
Retirement, then Hall of Fame. So those are the next two spikes. He might as well hold on for the next few.
Yeah. Let his completed career. Yeah.
Are you saying I should have bought the Chris Paul Kaboom that I saw the other day?
Possibly
$75.
Okay, maybe not the Chris Paul Kaboom for $575, but you know, whatever Chris Paul you got, just hang on to it.
I never see a lot of Chris Paul autographs out there. So is that something that you should be chasing down and putting away for the future?
Chasing, maybe not, but if you see it.
See them and then they're at a reasonable price, you know, like, pick them up.
It's be mindful that it's not a prominent thing in the
He's almost like, I almost put him in the same tier as Kyrie Irving. Like, their autos sell for dirt cheap for what they both accomplished.
Yeah.
Kyrie has a chip,
but
Paul doesn't. Paul's more beloved. Kyrie's not.
Is it one of those things that you wait for history to increase their value for them? Because they're not playing day to day. You appreciate them more through the reflection of history.
I mean, Chris Paul's not doing LeBron James things. Like, he's not 39 and still pushing the ring. You know, he's actually becoming role player Chris Paul right now. He's not all-star.
LeBron apparently wanted to take a step back this year, but Anthony Davis isn't ready.
Just on that point, though, I'm 42. I can barely walk anymore, right? The fact that these guys are playing NBA basketball, we need to acknowledge that.
I appreciate it.
Too bad.
Chris Paul is a freak just as much as LeBron is.
I'm going to say, though, normally the phrase is Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah.
At this point of the year, LeBron's like, hold my beer.
Yeah, it's insane.
He's a freak.
Yeah.
If he hits 40 and still doing the same thing, that's when I'm just like, I think Father Time just goes, you know what? You get this one, LeBron. You can have another one.
Yeah.
So that was from David Kusatik. So thank you so much for contributing that one, David. This next one's for Al. So this is from Howard Smith. Tiffany Stratton.
Who?
That didn't go well. I believe she's a wrestler. Okay. I'm sorry, Howard. We tried our best.
We did try.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be. I thought it was like a deep cut that he hit something. That she was a WNBA player, and he hit something in a break. And
That didn't go well. No. Sorry, Howard.
Look, when it comes down to wrestling stuff, like, the market's weird. It's not like the other markets. It's not like the non-sport market.
they dress differently, costumes.
Some of the cards that I would expect the expensive, like, I pulled actually this one. We not this Howard, but Howard.
Hey, Howard. Yeah.
I pulled an Edge event worn patch to 99, right? To 99 flat.
Yeah.
Now I would expect that that's worth like $100, but like maybe $30.
Yeah, right.
So like wrestling cards,
Well, it's a different market, isn't it?
it's really different. There's less,
And they're only acting. No, it's not real.
It's
Not wrestling.
business. I mean, plus I'm assuming they're WWE.
I think so.
Technically be injured and out for 6 months on Indonesia. They could be, and then gotten out. They could be fired for drugs charges that we don't know about that just pop up out of nowhere, like Jeff Hardy. You know, Jeff Hardy is a legend in WWE. And he's been in and out of WWE. He's in a Ring of Honor. All that stuff gets clean, and then he gets unclean.
Yeah, right.
And it happens
All right.
all the time. So his prices on autos are like stripped low because he's a fan favorite. But who cares?
Yeah.
Like once
True.
you're out of the high entertainment, like you're out of
Yeah.
the high.
It's fair. The Perusia factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's like that one NXT.
Let's go back to basketball.
Stephen Hallam asked for Tyrese Maxey, which we've already done in
I think we both said buy at the
on
moment.
today's show, so we can acknowledge that and then move forward. I think
It's a buy.
It's done.
Is it Jordan Poole levels? Is he hitting 1,000, or are we?
You have to credit.
We know that Poole hit 1,000 and is now $200, right?
And not like yo,
And that's overvalued to pool, by the way.
Yeah, stay away from pool.
Is like
the pool party is not good. Party.
Where's Maxi's sweet spot?
I
Silver.
said this in 2021, and I sent you guys the image to prove this from my old race group, where I said this kid has nowhere near the height of hype he should have had going into the drive. He got
He's
buried.
in the right situation though now.
He got buried under the other tyrants.
James Harden just did the best thing he possibly could by making a ruckus in.
Now he's being recognised exactly the way that I saw it.
But he was a Kentucky kid too, wasn't he?
Yeah, true.
And that's that whole thing about Kentucky. Those teams are so loaded, they almost don't get time to breathe, you know?
We've spoken about that with Maxi. Kentucky is...
Yeah, I still, there's like, people will say don't buy Maxi right now. Sportscard Investor made a video recently on the fight, yesterday or the day before, and they were saying don't buy Maxi. Maxi said he's rude. No, he's not.
No, he's on the hype train. The hype train's moving. The hype train's moving, but I don't think it's stopped yet.
No. I don't think it's stopped at all. I think that buying in now is
We'll
still
see what station they get off
still
at.
risky.
Sure.
But it's more of a safe bet than buying in on Zion right now. Which would I prefer? I'd be going.
Well, he's trending up, right?
Maxi, Franz
Is
Wagner, those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Wagner's bargain.
Yeah.
The way it's going to be in the future.
I like that.
Paul Anthony.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Paul Anthony, where everyone forgot about Paul Anthony. And then everyone went out on injury, and Paul Anthony's all of a sudden like the superstar. And then he gets buried again.
I think Orlando's on the sheet on the sheet for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I think Stephen's also got Mobley.
Evan Mobley.
I think that's the Mobley he's talking about.
I'm
Yeah.
like Tino Mobley, right?
It just says Mobley.
My age? Am I proving my age?
You are definitely proving your age. I think he dabbles in marijuana stores these days, so it's sort of a different podcast again. Yeah.
Because he looks more of a defensive minded.
And I think that doesn't translate well in the hobby.
They need that. They need both. He needs offense, but Wemby doesn't.
Yeah.
Defense.
Yeah.
Look at him go on offense. Like, they need both to sell. That's why, that's why, the French guy didn't do good. Killian Hayes didn't do that great. More defensive minded.
Yeah.
Matisse Thybulle, he had the Aussie bomb.
Yeah.
But he's not a shooter. Ben Simmons, same thing. Not a great shooter.
Ben Simmons is out again
not a
too.
pretty thing for the hobby.
How do you say? Look at
Got a shout. Lock out.
He drew stuff, and he has looked really good.
It just hasn't got.
But then he didn't get better. Problem. He came into the NBA, technically speaking, a French star. And
What about we do a defensive players in the hobby? Because I'm curious. I'm curious what the best value is defensive player wise.
So my take on Mobley is actually the Cleveland team is pretty deep hobby wise. So you've got Garland there, which is like, legitimate. Then Donovan Mitchell. So I think that sort of makes it difficult for me. The other thing too is like if you talk about Evan Mobley, and this actually segues perfectly into our next one, which is from Lachlan 1. He said Tim Duncan. At that money, I would probably just rather go out and buy a nice Duncan who has got 50 times the resume and probably at the moment not that much further apart in terms of dollar-wise,
For sure.
So for me, just going into this on Duncan is like a buy. There's nothing Duncan...
These guys don't know. You can bully good play on Duncan. You got Dirk, who's an absolute steal.
For me, Duncan is top 10 all time. You can that's nearly make an argument he's top 5. Like, honestly.
History is going to paint these players in a very, very positive light.
Yeah.
And I think when collectors are looking back at all-time greats, they put a higher value on them because of what history says about them.
Yeah. They're proven.
Yeah.
They're proven guys. They're made men.
Their career is done and dusted. There's no how is he going to perform next week.
Yeah.
If he gets injured, there's problems. The career's been and done.
And that's the thing. We went into a period of COVID where we brought in all these sports card investors, these speculators, these gamblers.
Yeah.
And everyone gambled hard on the Zion.
I do think we're at a phase of the hobby where a lot of the investor types have left the hobby, which is
They're
great.
taking their money, they're taking their losses, they're moving on to something
Yeah, they've seen the boom, they've seen the crash. They're not there for the grassroots stuff, and now we're left with growth.
Yeah. It's funny that, and we've had this discussion, Russ and I, about holding cards. And I'm very transparent with, if I hit something that's of a very high player, I will try and liquefy it almost immediately because I'm not going to wait around to see how it comes out.
Yeah.
I was like that with that jar silver that I hit in a break, right?
Sure.
Like it looks like a PSA 10 comes out of all this. And the poor guy that bought it off him held it for way too long, got it graded, held. Now how much is a jar silver going? Silver prism is at 10. You know,
It's all right. I mean,
look,
he'll be
he's
back.
going to make a little bit of money on it, but I know it here he had it like rated it and sold it straight away.
Yeah, sure. Like that is definitely true. But I would also say the story on Jar's not finished yet. Like it's too early to.
It's going to be very interesting, I think, around
If
Christmas.
he's been doing what I hope he's doing, which is like playing ball, keeping his nose clean, and not getting into trouble, comes back, hits it hard, Derek Rose style, starts dunking on a few people's heads.
Not with that.
The NBA forgets pretty much straight away.
Everyone will forget what he's done if he comes in and he's done. It's that we all knew it, even with that uncompleted dunk from freaking what set was that?
It is forgivable what he did, though. That's the other thing too.
Correct. Agreed.
It's not like he was killing people or bashing his girlfriend or
Yes.
Not the thing, but when you assault and you're
Flashing people.
it's going to get you.
I'm not saying what you did was right. I'm saying it's forgivable. Yeah.
Agreed.
Accomplice to a millionaire, and he's fine. His rookie cards are selling well more. Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Like more crazy stories have happened.
Yeah.
That haven't, like, his value is hurt right now. He's probably at the investment. Like, if you want to buy in on Jar now, you can buy in on Jar.
You can buy. It's a good point. Price point.
He didn't hold a gun and shoot himself or shoot someone. Yeah. If he shot himself in the leg, okay, maybe he's not going to have his value.
Cheddar Bob.
Yeah, it looks.
He's currently hopefully not going down the path of a literal spring.
No, we don't want to see that.
He comes back.
But that's a time will tell scenario, right?
If he's not away from those kids, he's a buy. He's a buy.
Yeah, he's a buy.
So I think this will probably be the last one we got time for today.
Yeah, I think so.
This is a really fun one. So again, this is from Lachlan Blunt, Carmelo Anthony. So I found a 2003 Bowman's Rookies and Stars PSA 10 base sold for $55 USD. Now this is where it gets really interesting. The gold chrome refractor numbered to 50 last sold for $13,200. Is this a buy, a hold, or a sell for you gentlemen?
So
The pop is for.
It's a niche market, Mellow.
yeah, if I have a buy for that, I'm selling.
If I was going to move, if I had a chance to move it on and buy something else, I would.
Melo's such a weird one, right? He's one of those players that
All-time
never
great. All-time great. He had a weird whole.
One of the best scorers we've ever. This
Team
game's ever seen.
USA, won at college.
Most successful in college.
I would tell you an American hero as far as Team USA.
Yeah.
But just in the NBA, just unlucky.
Yeah, he disappeared. He went from like
He was just a scoring
great
king.
at Denver, good at New York.
Yeah.
Disappeared, and then places he rehabbed his value a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Tried to get a chip with the Lakers.
Lakers doesn't work. So like he's like if you have somebody who's paying $1,300 for a Melo card.
13,000.
Sorry.
13,000.
Yeah. Because you can imagine what you can buy at $13,000. How many Tim Duncans you could buy? And like
How many pre-orders we have buy? Really, when you just go 13,000, like, I tell you what, I'll sell it to you for 12,000, 2,000 off, and I'll just go and buy a bunch of pre-orders.
3 or 4 Kobe orders.
You guys know how
Nice one, yeah. Nice on pads.
And I'm saying that this money is just like.
Look,
We're getting MJ. You're getting MJ for the MJ autograph. Nice deal.
Yeah.
Who's a comp for Melo? Because I have a theory.
Look.
So a modern player that reminds you of the career trajectory of Carmelo Anthony. It rhymes with Kevin Durant. He's a dominant scorer. That's all he does.
Yes.
KD is a scorer. Did he win?
He did. He sealed the deal, man.
He did.
Yeah. He went up and shot that ball in front of LeBron. He ended that game.
I don't think they would have won those.
Every time I think of Melo, I think of dominant scorer. and that's the one dimension. And KD just is a dominant scorer.
Yeah.
I think he's got a bit more to his game though than Carmelo. I think he's a better rebounder.
Yeah.
He's actually can pass pretty well.
Yeah.
True.
And actually defensively he's very reliable.
All right, so who's the dominant?
Whereas Carmelo wasn't
SGA.
reliable defensively.
SGA?
Yeah.
SGA is still young. I think jury's still out on SGA.
Actually, Ingram, maybe.
I reckon if you ask the shopkeepers on the floor right now, I'm pretty sure SGA is a surprise question at the moment. Like, how have you got SGA?
Wow, you think?
I think he'd be a surprise. Like, he'll be asking.
I think he's hot at the moment.
Yeah.
We talked about that at the start of the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think is he overhyped? Is my question.
I'd probably buy him before by some of the guineas. Like
What are your thoughts on Gideon? Like,
Giddy, he has to work on his shot. Like his shot was falling earlier.
yeah.
Now it's
offense. We were talking about offense.
he's an offense. He's got the Aussie pride back him, but he's not an offensive guy.
He needs to be aggressive and look for his shot.
So what you're saying is, I didn't afford the Prism 75th anniversary with rookie PSA 10 for $170, mate.
170 is not bad.
I can get you some of your money back. I'll offer you 70 for it.
Those
The NBL's got another number one draft pick coming up.
I saw that. Yeah.
He's coming through, another French guy. So it'll be interesting. You know, like
Don't Tops do an NBL set? We can get his pre-rookie cards.
75s actually sell surprisingly well.
Yeah.
Another thing you need to add to
pretty.
Giddy though too is that he didn't go into the league as a scorer. He went in as a playmaker, rebounder.
Playmaker.
defender.
He-
So
yeah.
oversized guard.
it
Four
takes
man's LeBron.
it takes time to score at the NBA level. So if it takes him 5 years to work it out, he will still be an exceptional NBA player.
that is true.
And that's the thing is, when people who jump in for players, they don't give them the 3-4 years to develop.
Yeah.
So they
True.
to develop. Some of these third-year guys,
De'Aaron Fox.
like
That's right. Yeah.
last year he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
I should have had Scotty Barnes on my list.
Scotty Barnes, yeah, you're right.
It's really,
I was talking about the growth, the starter superstar jump platform, and the average is like 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Until they can break out before then. For their actual leap. And Maxi's this is the Maxi year, right?
Yeah.
Because Maxi was putting up low 20s. That low 20 to high 20 jump is a big.
But in the next 6 months. But if I sit on it for a little bit longer, and you guys know how much I like talking about liquidity and not sitting on stuff
Yes.
if I can't, if I don't need to sit on it,
Yeah.
if I want to buy other things. But this is one of those cards, not only is Australian, but also he hasn't hit his mark yet, right? Like his market in Australia is obviously a little bit more hyped than it is anywhere else because it's big in Australia. What a surprise! But I reckon sitting on
Aussies have a
waiting
tendency
for
of
him
picking
to-
up the
yeah,
most popular Aussie player, yes.
waiting for him to get his shooting game up.
That's why I bought Josh
Like,
Green.
There's a chance that this blue could go up to like 250.
Yeah, that's
True.
He's going to be fine for the next 10 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know who we
So
didn't
I
talk
don't
about in our
mind-
starting lineups, by the way? Kane.
Kate Hunningham, yeah. Jaron Jackson Jr.
It's a fun year. Yeah, it's a fun year.
Another one where everyone had to start playing him. He wasn't as big a hype as say LaMelo Ball, which was weird. Everyone was like, yeah, he's good, but and now everyone's like, oh,
Agreed.
the team itself is solidifying.
Dispo's downstairs. Yeah.
The Miller Ball year, though, was after the Jar line. So the hype monster was.
It was still there. Yeah.
Hype monster.
Yeah.
It was like. She
Agreed, yeah.
And then Wemby's back to the hype.
Does he go under the radar, though? And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, forgot about Cade Cunningham. Bang.
I think after he's injured, his cards dropped, right?
A lot, yeah.
Like a stone. But because everyone went, oh, it's injured guy like this.
But the Pistons aren't good this year, so I think that's the other difficult thing too. Even if you say, look,
It's a trajectory.
Cade's playing really, really well, and he is, and he's back, he's injury free, but
Yeah,
the Pistons
for sure.
suck. So, yeah. Final thoughts. Okay. Very good.
Bye, Shaq, guys.
I'm already on the Shaq train. That was my center. in
That
my
is
bio.
true.
But look, for current guys, I'm loving Jaron Jackson Jr.,
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes, Franz Wagner.
Yep.
Those are my 3 guys that I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty pretty safe bets for me.
I'm pretty hyped on Franz Wagner, not just because his name is super bloody cool.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Really nice auto.
Franz Wagner?
Really nice auto.
Gorgeous auto.
Yeah.
That makes his cards look great.
I think my final thought would be that the hobby is really healthy, and it's really good to see some fresh new people in the hobby, some actual hobby enthusiasts, and it's I don't know, happy days ahead at the moment.
My final thought is I'm just very glad to be here. Thank you for Team Hobby Hangout for having us and organising this amazing event.
Yes.
Thank you everyone who's tuned in for listening.
Yeah, shout out to everybody we saw on the floor. Jono Michaels was on the floor. Mailman Breaks. Matt's Card Shop. Who else? Oh, the boys down at Cherry. Always happy for a chat. Lane is accepting PSA submissions today for the Hobby Australia. Yeah, lots of faces, lots of people to say hi to. And, of course, our sponsor EJ Cards is down there as always.
Yeah.
Jules is down there. Yeah, and I think I'm going to go in and say hi to the guys at Card Fever as well. They're
like Bear Bricks as well. Yeah, so we're going to put a shack Bear Brick.
nice.
Come right.
Sensational. Awesome.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks, guys.
See you next week.
Catch you next week.